Hey guys, I hope you had a great day at school today, and this video is going to be about reasonability. This is something that is very important to me, and we are going to talk about reasonability, what it is, and be able to detect how to use it through a couple of different problems. Reasonability is something that you are going to need to know, a skill that you are going to need to figure out, not just for math but in other areas, and no matter what your job is, to be able to use it as an adult down the line. So first, let's talk about what reasonability is. What is reasonability? Well, first I want you to be able to work the problem the way that you think is correct, referring to your notes if needed. That's why I first have you refer to your notes in the first place. I want you to rely on those notes as needed. The second thing I always have you do is ask a neighbor first. Don't just ask me. And then what do I always ask you? Did you refer to your notes? Did you ask a neighbor for help before you ask me? Because I am not always going to be there to be able to answer a question that you may have. Your notes should always be there, though. After you've worked the problem the way you think is correct, I want you to check your final answer by asking these three questions. Does my answer make sense? An example of your answer making sense would be if the question is asking how many hours does she work a day? Well, how many hours are in a day? 24 hours are in a day. So if your answer is something like 30 hours, well, there aren't 30 hours in a day, so your answer does not quite make sense, does it? So you know you need to go back and redo the problem again. That's the sort of thing that we're looking for when does my answer make sense. That's what you need to be able to catch. And you need to be able to catch that on your own, because that'll be helpful on the STAR test when it's just you. And during any test, really. And being able to catch that on your own, it'll be helpful in math, in science, in English, writing, not just this year, but down the line. This is truly a good skill to be able to know, and I have taught it every year that I have been teaching, no matter what the subject and no matter what the age level. Parents, this is a great thing to support your kids in, and these are great 3 questions to start with when your kids need help and aren't sure if they have the right answer. Next, am I using the correct labels? Did they, and we have an example in this problem, in this presentation as well to go over. And then the last one, am I answering the question I was asked in the word problem? 3 very important questions to ask yourself when you have an answer and you're not sure if it's correct or not. So my first example, this is an actual tax question from the past. My favorite that I loved using as an example, African elephants are the largest land mammals. Which is the best estimate of the mass of the African elephant? So we can have 5,400 grams, 5,400 kilograms, 5,400 liters, or 5,400 meters. Now you may not know in memory what the answer might be, but we can use reasonability and kind of common sense to figure out what the answer is. Let's start with H, liters. What in everyday life are you familiar with that comes in liters? Well, I know I'm familiar with soda, probably too familiar with it, 2-liter bottles of soda. Now, do we measure mass in liters of soda? No, not really. That seems a little not right to me, so I know it's not going to be H. Also, let's talk about meters. Meters, well, I measure my height in meters. I am I'm short, but I'm still over 1 meter tall. Would we measure the height of an African elephant in 5,000 meters? That is a humongous elephant, and I don't think they're exactly 5,400 meters tall, so I know it's not going to be J, so we can just knock those two out. We're left with grams and kilograms. Well, that is how we do measure mass. When we get to that lesson, sorry guys, I was letting an airplane go by. When we do get to the lesson of measurement, what you'll discover is that a gram is the same measurement as a packet of sugar. Now, 5,000 packets of sugar is not very heavy. Also, you can think about maybe a paper clip. Well, 5,000 paper clips, is that about the measurement of an African elephant, the largest land mammal? Not quite. So we can kind of knock that one out, and the only answer we have left that even is reasonable is 5,400 kilograms. So without even having to memorize an answer, the only reasonable answer we have here is G. Alright, the next problem we have, the students at Burns Elementary School sold 297 packages of white wrapping paper and 376 packages of green wrapping paper. How many more packages of green paper than white paper did they sell? Well, our answers are 673, 79, 189, and 121. Well, I want you to pause the video for a second and solve the problem. Alright, I want to know if you said F. Well, unfortunately, you did not follow what the last one was, which was, did you solve for the correct question in the problem? And the question in this case was, how many more packages of green paper than white paper did they sell? And how many more is indicative of subtraction, not addition. 673 is adding those two numbers together, not subtracting them. So we're going to take that one away. Now, if you had 121, you did subtract, but there are some errors in your subtraction, and you may have put the wrong number on top. 189 is just wrong. There were some errors in your subtraction as well, and probably you did not borrow at some case. So those two are wrong, and the only answer we can get back is 79. Remember, make sure you are solving for the correct question being asked in the problem. All right. Now, because of the different sizes of your screens, this problem cannot be solved by you. Also, you guys do not have a mathematics chart for measuring. You may not have a ruler at home. So just listen very, very carefully. Norma bought a candy bar. The picture below shows the length of her candy bar. Use the ruler on the mathematics chart to measure the candy bar. Felix also bought a candy bar that was 3 times as long as Norma's candy bar. About how long was the candy bar Felix bought? This was also a tax question. So we have a candy bar that Norma bought, and then Felix also bought one. Now, the answer that came up was 4 centimeters. Well, 4 centimeters is actually the length of Norma's candy bar. What's the error there? Well, Norma's candy bar was the answer that people came up with first, and that was the answer that is seen in the multiple choice. Now, you have to be very careful. You guys have a test coming up soon, so you need to make sure that you aren't just jumping at the first answer you see in the multiple choice. I haven't been giving you multiple choice because I want you guys to be solving for the correct thing. But we can't get past multiple choice. There's going to be some multiple choice, and also when you guys have the STAR test, it's going to be in multiple choice. So this is very important. Make sure you're solving for the correct question, because the question is about how long was the candy bar Felix bought. Okay? And Felix didn't buy one that was 4 centimeters. He bought one that was 3 times as long as Norma's. So if Norma's was 4 centimeters and his was 3 times as much, that indicates multiplication. So 3 times 4 is 12. So Felix's was 12 centimeters. There's no way to get around that. Alright, so let's review. What is reasonability? Work the problem the way you think is correct. Check your final answer by asking these questions. Does my answer make sense? Make sure you're not saying somebody's working 30 hours in a day when there's only 24 hours available in a day. Am I using the correct labels? Can't measure an elephant in liters. That doesn't make sense. So make sure you're checking that out. And also, am I answering the question I was asked in the word problem? If you are being asked to measure Felix's candy bar, make sure you're giving the measurement for Felix's candy bar. Also, one step I need to add on here is what I've seen in class quite a bit. Reread your own answer. Make sure you have written down the correct answer. When I've seen a lot of translating from standard form to written form, a lot of you had left off words. When you were correcting, you erased words and then didn't put them back in the other order. You were able to tell me what you meant, but you guys need to check your own work. Reread it. Make sure you're writing down what you think is correct. Okay? So check your own work. Read your answer yourself. Be able to tell me what it is, because I know you guys know it, but if you can't translate it down onto paper, unfortunately, I have to take what's on paper as your answers. Okay? So that is it for today, and I hope you guys do great on your test this week. No, I don't hope. I know you guys are going to do great. Have a great evening. If you forgot your notes at home, here, let's go back to a screen. If you forgot your notes at home, then, just get a sheet of paper, write down something. Bringing in something is better, way better than nothing. And we will see you in the morning. Bye.